Oh yeah, we're back. We're back, and it's not for a long time. Yeah, we are back because I'm needing a break from what I'm doing, and I want to see you. It's not being fair to you that we've not been around, so we're here to chat. Oh yes, it's Thursday, Friday Junior, but it feels like I've been a month in the gulag. Yeah, it's been we've been working on stuff and things here at the office, and it's all really important. But you're important too. So I've missed the last couple of days of live streaming, and that means I've not been answering your traffic and police questions, and that makes me sad. If you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff most days. I like to say like every single day, but actually I have been talking about it. I just haven't been talking about it with you, so it's not incorrect. If you're watching, it's probably on one of those, platforms on the media socials. Yeah, we're currently broadcasting on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and of course X, which used to be called Twitter, the name that I still tend to answer or call it because I'm used to it. Wherever you are, please like and subscribe and share because that's really how we get the word out, and this is all about helping, you, so you know stuff before you do stuff, so you don't get charged with stuff for doing the wrong stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now, what I do every time we go live is I download the live stream and then I repost it onto Anchor, or at least to be called Anchor. Now it's Spotify for podcasters, and it makes it available as a replay in an audio format and a video format where you can download it, synchronize it with your device, take it on the road with you when you're traveling, not burn your data. And of course, if you're driving listening to us, then you're doing it legally because there's no video. A lot of people like to listen to live, and I get it, and I love you for it, but I don't want you to get a ticket for having your device on. In any case, Apple Podcasts, iHeart Podcasts, Spotify, and a whole bunch of others. If you want to go to TrafficCOP.ca, you can go and get a button for that. Where's my Traffic Cop button? There we go. Traffic Cop button. See, all links to all the stuff is there, but it's AskATrafficCOP.TrafficCOP.ca. I think will take you right there. AATC. I think I made a couple of different subdomains. Anyway, not going to geek out, not going to deep dive into the how to get a hold of me, but I do want to talk about something. It's not geeky. It's kind of like fan. I'm inspired by the Vision Zero Enforcement Team. The Vision Zero Enforcement Team are a group of officers that go out every single day and try and change driver behavior one ticket at a time. They are looking for those who choose to speed, drive aggressively, drive distracted, or drive impaired, and they are busy because there's a lot of people who are out there breaking the law. If you don't want to meet them, I would suggest not breaking the law. It's a funny little thing, isn't it? Anyway, being the 30th, it's the 30th. Being the 30th, I had a conversation about being the 30th or the 31st today, or how many days are there? Anyway, thanks, John Carlo. Yeah, it's all his fault. Blaming him. They're in 32 Division and 55 Division today. Those are the neighborhoods of Downsview, Willowdale, Newtonbrook, Bathurst, Manor, the Beaches, Riverdale, Danforth, East York, neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play and deserve to be safe. Yes. Now, employment. I put it up there accidentally, but you know what? It's a good idea. Let me just get this out of the way because I really want to see. I'm curious. People are asking me about jobs, so let's talk about it. We're going to share the page with you very, very quickly. Not going into a deep dive here. Very, very quick, and then we're going to get to questions about stuff and things. Share this page. There we go. Smiling faces coming up in 3, 2. There we go. If you go to the TPS.ca careers page, you will see these smiling faces. And they do look happy, don't they? That's because they're members of our team. If you want to be a member of our team, check out this page, see what is up in terms of available opportunities. You can, of course, apply for police constable anyway, anytime, any place. You go here and you press the big old button that says apply now. All the information you want to know about this job is here. Well, not everything. You may have to ask people some questions. Talk to a recruiter. They are the pros. I had someone ask me about the auxiliary program. There's a gentleman with a checkerboard hatband. Although you don't see those anymore because everyone's wearing baseball caps. But that is an auxiliary officer. That's how I started with the service. Best volunteer opportunity, bar none. Great people doing great work. And there's no button for apply, so there's probably no application process currently open. I've got to follow up and find out what the next one's going to be. My favorite button to press is civilian roles because there are a lot of ways to serve your community without actually wearing a uniform. Now, there are currently 3 positions: senior programmer, property and evidence clerk at forensic identification, and communications operator. You know, those magical people who take your 911 calls and dispatch police officers to go help you. Yeah, they are awesome, and there should be more people doing that job, which is why they're taking the communications position and posting it. So if you think you are in in line, the right kind of person for any of these positions, apply now, because the opportunities, they don't wait. You know what I'm saying? They don't wait. All right, I should probably change my background because I've been put there. No, this one. There we go. And then what else do I want to do? Let's go see what's going on in the chat room. I will enable this button. Hey, the things seem to be working. Zombie says, good morning. Good morning to you. Thanks says, what is this? This live stream would be great on your website with Stream Agency. I take it you are plugging Stream Agency. I've never heard of it, but I'm going to make a note and I'll check it out because who knows what you're talking about. Maybe there's something you can do to make this better. Great. Chase is here and says, good morrow. Hope the day is well. And I thank you, sir. I hope you are doing well, too. Actually, I got to connect with you, Chase. I think a lunch has to happen. Anyway, Zombie says, I sent a message and pics update on the baby on Telegram, but I think you missed. I did miss it. Now, thank you for also mentioning the Telegram group. Telegram.trafficcop.ca will take you to our Telegram group where a bunch of us shoot the poop on a regular basis. Now, let's see here. And I look forward to seeing the pictures that I obviously missed. But I have been just in a zone working on a project, which isn't public facing. It's a training video and training course for officers. And it's all, needs to happen now. In fact, it needs to happen yesterday. So we've been working hard, diligently producing such stuff. Okay. Dialed in says, we didn't miss you. Well, you may not have missed me, but I know from the emails and messages that I've been getting, there are those who did. And if you didn't miss me, that's okay. I'm here anyway, whether you missed me or not. What's this? Oh, okay. Waterloo company that delivers. Cool. Okay. Question from Chase. We'll kick it off there. What is the procedure of a police officer? What is the procedure if a police officer has to respond to a call, run a red light, but their emergency flashes are malfunctioning? Well, we check our cars when we take them out. So one of the things we do is we activate all our lights, make sure everything's working. If we're in the vehicle and we don't know they're not working, that's a problem. Like we've checked it, but they fail while we're on the road, that's going to be a problem. Now we have redundancies. We have a lot of different equipment. So hopefully most, if not all of the equipment would run. I don't think that everything would fail. But if I hit the lights and nothing happened, I wouldn't be able to go through the traffic clearing. I wouldn't be able to do it legally, and I certainly wouldn't be able to do it safely. So the operational response would be, I can't do it. There you go. Okay. Fance says, add my list to the list. Okay, I'll check that out. Okay, Randy McNaught says, good morning, Sean. Wishing you and all of your audience the best of days. Thank you very much, Randy. Appreciate it. Ronald is praying for Trump. He wants him to be not guilty. Interesting. I have not been following things very closely because I've been so busy, but it's interesting to watch. I actually enjoy politics. I know I'm weird. But I enjoy, I enjoy watching politics. What is this? Why are driving infractions on your record for life in British Columbia? They're on your record for life everywhere. Now, let me explain. They are part of your document, your history within the Ministry of Transportation for wherever you are. They see everything because it's a record. It doesn't disappear. It doesn't evaporate. In terms of what your insurance company can see, in terms of what is reported, at least in Ontario, it's only visible to insurance companies and third parties for up to 3 years, those that have access. Convictions. Other things like police and government agencies, they can see it forever. But insurance companies are private. Now, in BC, maybe that's not the case. I don't know how that's going to work for you. In any case, here's the big thing. Don't break the law. and you'll be fine. Drive safely and you'll do better. Like it's just an easier way to go. Problem is people take a long time for that to sink in, and then bad things happen. They get a crappy record, and then their insurance goes up, and they may or may not correct their behavior. Anyway, moving on. Why aren't police enforcing the King Street Transit Priority Corridor, always seeing cars going straight through when they're supposed to turn at certain streets? Well, Downsview 34, and thank you for coming in via X. I love it when Twitter is actually being used on the live streams. It's a new feature that came back to us, and not everybody knows that it works. So if you're watching on Twitter, know that you can be part of the conversation. And I just realized I should look over here and see if anybody's commenting here. And I see one comment from Instagram. We'll get to you next. Okay, so in terms of why aren't we, well, I wouldn't say that we aren't. I just would say that you may not see it when it's happening, and we're not there 24 hours a day. We're not on every street enforcing the speed every single day. We're not at every stop sign. We are where we can be, and there's a little bit of chance to that, right? So people try and get away with things when they think we're not there, and that's when we catch them. Sometimes we don't. We cannot dedicate an officer to that corridor. It would be lovely if we could, but we can't. We have to prioritize our deployment, our officer spend, if you will, to the most serious offenses taking place in the city and responding to calls for service, which is always a priority. So if someone's calling 911, we need to be able to deploy people to respond to those emergencies. And when there's a lull, or if there's ever a lull, we can then do proactive policing when it comes to enforcement. Now, we have officers who are assigned to specific duties, and sometimes we'll do a blitz on that street, and we'll write tickets nonstop, and then hopefully that changes some behavior. But we can't sit there 24/7. It's just not realistic. So it may be that you're just there when we're not, or we're there right after you leave. That's probably what's happening. Is it a crime to use your phone to tap at the drive-thru? In Ontario, no, and actually in Saskatchewan, I don't believe it is either. I looked at their laws after this article came out, or a story about a young man who drove into a parking lot as he was approaching McDonald's and was stopped by a motor officer and ticketed for using his cell phone. Now, what didn't get communicated was the offense didn't take place in the parking lot. It wasn't in the drive-thru. It was on the road prior to pulling off onto the private property. On the public road is where the officer observed that driver driving using their phone. Story didn't get told that way for whatever reason, whether he didn't realize he was caught at that point. But the RCMP updated their statement to the public saying that the gentleman was actually observed on the roadway, and that would be the same thing here. So if I see you doing something, and it takes me a while until I get up to you because of traffic or whatnot, maybe I was a few car lengths away. I saw it happen. I watched you as you pulled in. You stopped. I pulled in after you. I pulled you over. And the assumption is when the lights go on, that's obviously when I was making my observations. It may not have been. Anyway, moving along. By the way, I think I can only stay on here till about 10:30. So this is going to be the express show when I'm used to doing 2 and 2.5 hour show. Well, 1 hour is the goal always. 1.5 is the average, 2 on the outside, even 2.5 sometimes. But today's going to be a quick one because I have to get back into other stuff and things. But the plan is to be here again tomorrow. Linda says, good morning, hero. Love you all. Linda is a big supporter of law enforcement. We thank you for all the kind words. She's always coming in with positivity through Facebook, and we appreciate you. Neha says, good morning. Good morning to you. Let's see here. We got... What is this? Let's go here. Tom says, much complaining about stunt driving charges on OPP's site. Could you briefly go over why it's called Stunt and Son? So I'm not sure, but we're not the OPP. This is the Toronto Police, so I can't really tell you. I don't know what's going on their site, but I will say that stunt driving is a serious offense. It is triggered by one of about 15 different activities, anything from speeding 40 over in an area that has a speed limit under 80, 50 over in a speed limit area 80 and above, 150 kilometers or more anywhere, regardless of the speed, is stunt driving. Jackrabbit starts, driving with people in the trunk, burnouts and drifting and wheelies, and all these things trigger stunt driving. And they're serious because they come with an immediate 14-day impoundment of your motor vehicle, a 30-day suspension of your license. You're then taken to court because you get a court date. It's a Part 3. It's not a ticket you can pay. So that means you're looking at a 1 to 3 year driving suspension on your first conviction, $2,000 to $10,000 fine, and up to 6 months in jail. Serious stuff. Now, maybe people are freaking out because these charges, as of 2021, I believe, were amended to include private property. So if you're going into the McDonald's parking lot and doing burnouts, you can have all the same consequences of doing that in the middle of the road. And it upsets people because it also applies to their own farmers' fields, even if it's their property. But these are activities that are not safe. The only place you can do this kind of stuff legally is on a racetrack or in an area that's being, let's say you're on a movie set and you've got a permit to do what you're about to do because they've closed the roads and they have safety protocols in place. But unsafe doing of things in a motor vehicle is regulated and prohibited. Okay. Can you use your watch while driving? Now, do you mean my smartwatch or do you mean my wristwatch? That is a timepiece as opposed to a smart device. You can look at your wristwatch to tell the time. You can look at your smartwatch to tell the time. What you can't do is swipe through 27 menus, set alarms, activate you can't use your communication devices. And my watch even has a cellular device in it. I can use it as a telephone independently of my phone. It is a handheld communication device under the Act. If I were to simply look at it, it's not a problem, right? I look at it because it tells me the time. If I start navigating, I'm using it, and that does meet the qualifications or the legal requirements under the Act for handheld communication device. Now, you could argue otherwise and say it's wrist worn. Well, just holding a cell phone, even if the screen is off, is using your cell phone under the law. It's not permitted. Anyway, moving along. What do we got here? Boy Mom 8424 says, good morning, Sean. Good morning, Boy Mom. How you doing? Long time no see. It feels like I haven't been here in ages. Coming back from vacation and then being like, yeah, I'm glad to be back. Okay, moving on. What is this? I don't know what this person's talking about. Greetings and salutations, Akela Draconis. Can't stay in a meeting. Well, I can't stay. I got to go back to other stuff, but I appreciate the hellos. This person wants to know if you can arrest corrupt politicians. It's not my level. I'm a traffic cop, so I couldn't tell you what is or not permitted to do inside of a government. That would be either provincial police or Royal Canadian Mounted Police. I don't know. It's not something I've really looked into. Hey, Sean, it's Petsy. Did I read that right? Hope you're well. I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well too. I gotta say, I don't know if that's a typo, if that's if I read that correctly. Either way, I hope you're well. Let's see here. Kayla says, stay safe. Remember, don't have a good day. Have a great day. Thank you very much. Dr. K says, hey, hi, good morning. Good to see you. Always good to see you too. Chase says, in Europe, many cars have high beams that can detect cars oncoming and can cut out the light beam in order to not blind the driver while keeping it bright everywhere else. Not approved here, though. I know Porsche has this technology here. Now, I know that, no, actually, I was recently at a Porsche event. Actually, we're going to have a Porsche podcast. Not so much a Porsche product podcast, but a podcast with people who organized a Porsche Club event, and it was really cool. So they're going to come talk about it. We're going to share some footage, and they were talking about technology where I think they were in fact in Europe, where they were coming up to somebody and the car detected it and disabled the area, so everything around the car was bright. And maybe it was a Volvo. Because I also met an executive from Volvo talking about his trip to Portugal. Anyway, very cool technology that I've never seen in action, and I'd love to know more about. So beyond that, Chase, I have no idea what the law says on this because it's not technology apparently that's here. Okay. Toronto Roadcamp says, good morning. Lunch must happen. Chase is confirming. Okay, we just got to figure out where to eat. Cool. Dominic says, how slow can I go on a pothole-filled street in Montreal? Well, Montreal, good question. Do they have posted minimums there? You have to talk about safety. I can't speak to Montreal or Quebec law when it comes to minimum speeds on roads. Obviously, you can't interfere with traffic. That's going to be against the law anywhere. But if the road is damaged, truly damaged, that you've got sinkholes or potholes that you could lose a car in, that's a problem. And that would be unsafe to go at speed. So it would be reasonable to go slow. How slow? Depends on what's reasonable. I don't know. Let's see here. Is it Alfie? I'm not going to guess your name. I have my prep and shuttle run today. Any tips? It's all mental. You can do it. If you've been training for it, if you've got the NO2 max ability to maintain the shuttle run, if you've been able to do it in practice, then know that you can do it. And do it. And don't quit. When I did my shuttle run, I said the only way I'd fail is if I dropped dead right there. I was not going to give up. Because people think they're going to fail, so they allow themselves to stop. You have to get over the mind over matter concept of you are not going to fail because you're not going to fail. And if you think you're going to fail, correct yourself. You're not going to fail. Don't give up. And I remember when I was graduating from the police college, I had an injury, and I wasn't able to do the test at OPC, the shuttle run. I had to come back, recover, and then do the test again. And on the day that I was told, if you don't do it today, you are not going to graduate with your class. Well, I did it. Not everybody. There was another person who had to do it, and they didn't do it. They ran and gave up. They were in pain. What can you do? I was in pain too, but I wasn't going to give up. You're going to do this. Good luck to you. Okay. Thanks says, you're a great streamer. That'll do great with your tech on site. Cool. I'll check it out. I'm totally cool with checking that out. Dad joke from Michaela Draconis. We'll do that in 9 minutes. And then we got Danny with all sorts of emoji characters in between. What is this? Is the city going to ban speed cameras with the recent vandalism because people are fed up? Fed up with what? Fed up with what? Being told that they can't break the law? I think we should have speed cameras on every single street. Every single street. In fact, I think we should go back to the ones that are run by police officers on the road, because then no one's going to vandalize it. You leave it on the street, unattended, there's possibility. You put a police officer guarding it, it won't. But the problem is people are choosing to break the law. Who has the right to be fed up with being held accountable for breaking the law? No, I don't think they're going to go anywhere. I think we're going to get more of them, and I hope they do. Another dad joke from Michaela. Is it illegal to go below the speed limit? No, it's not illegal to go below the speed limit. It is entirely legal because the limit is the maximum. It's called a limit for a reason. You can go up to the limit, but not beyond it. All those people who go above it are breaking the law. I aim for approximately the speed limit, 98 and 100, 56 and a 60, and it depends. But I'm also driving without worrying too much about that. And I mean that because I don't have to go the speed limit. Now, I don't want to interfere with traffic. I'm not doing 40 on the 401. That would be wrong. That would be dangerous. But you drive at approximately the speed limit. Keith is on fire. TTV says, is there a ticket quota that needs to be met monthly? No. There is no quota. A lot of people want to believe that there is because it justifies, cops being big bad meanies that hold people accountable for their actions. But the truth is we write tickets because we want to change driver behavior to make the roads safer for everybody. And it doesn't matter how many we write. In fact, there were days that I would pull someone over and that investigation would take so long. That would be the only thing I did that day. I don't have to meet any particular things. I have to do my job, which is investigate crime and criminal activity and dangerous behavior and all that jazz. So, yeah, no quotas. No free toasters for doing extra work either. I mean, the people who are doing the most work are getting the same pay as the people who do the least work. There's no commission structure, which is too bad because I would have done very well for myself if I was being paid like a bonus system for all the tickets I used to write. But I really believe in ticketing, and you know what would make me happy? If no one broke the law. Yeah. I wouldn't be able to write tickets, but it would be because they were doing the right thing, not because I just, Anyway, moving on. What is considered running a red light? Really? It's when you don't stop for a red light. That also means when you cross through the intersection or enter the intersection on a red light. Even if you're making a right turn on a red light, if you don't come to a complete stop before making the right turn, you've run the red light. It means not stopping. That's what it means. It's like running a stop sign. You don't stop for the stop sign, you run it. I don't know any other way to answer the question, which makes me wonder, what are you talking about? Because I thought that was a pretty basic one. Let's see here. We got a quote from Michaela. Akela says, okay, cool, catch you later. Akela, who's going to watch this on replay. Okay, Jack has a question. Hey, I have a modified exhaust for my car. It's not really loud, yet some cops will insist it is. Why? Perspective. You may not think it's loud. It may not be loud compared to your friends who have louder exhausts, but it's more than stock in creating unnecessary noise, so it's not legal. Now, what is loud? Like, is it a fart can that's just ridiculously obnoxious, or is it something that is loud enough that I hear it in my car when I shouldn't? Because I really shouldn't hear your car at all. unless you're heavily accelerating, which then might make it a behavioral thing. So if you are driving in such a way that it is causing, hey, Sergeant Campbell walked in.
He's causing hay?
He's causing hay. Let's put this chair over here because it's full of stuff and grab that chair.
On your, what you were saying, I'll join.
Yes. We were discussing. So I'll repeat what Jack's question is. He says he has a modified exhaust for his car, but it's not really loud. Yet some cops will insist it is. So I was simply saying that A, it's perspective. B, if it's anything that I'm hearing, it's probably too loud.
Yeah, if it draws attention to your vehicle and it sounds louder than normal, in policing, it's one of those things that we look at and we say, you know what, does that look right? And if it doesn't look right, it doesn't sound right, there's probably a law
Being broken,
it.
yes.
So are modified exhausts unlawful?
Depends.
On their face? No, they're not. But if it creates a situation that has excessive noise or excessive fumes, or it deletes your catalytic converters, it causes emission control problems, causes vehicle control problems, you know what I mean, the burble, the backfires. The
burble tunes, I hate those.
You know what? It's all relative, right? I had aftermarket exhaust on my truck. Sounded good, but it wasn't loud.
Well, there is good, and there's the discussion of rumble and historic vehicles and muscle cars, and sometimes a rumble is very muted. It's subtle. It's throaty, but it's not obnoxious. And that's going to come down to the interpretation of the officer. But if everyone's turning to look at it, not because they appreciate it, but because it's drawing their attention, it really is disruptive. And ultimately, or like the community, the city of Toronto, it's one of the number one complaints that the community lodges about sound in their neighborhoods. I'm trying to go to bed, and I go to bed early because we wake up stupidly early. So it is one of those things where I'm constantly hearing whines of cars and motorcycles going up a main street that is about 2 kilometers away. 2 kilometers away to hear an engine is ridiculous.
My house as well. Exactly the same thing. Drives me nuts. And I'm just a citizen, and I think, why are the police around here not doing something about that? And that happens everywhere all the time. Now, so if you think you're cool,
you may not be.
You're hated by all.
Yes. Now, I will say this, and we're going deep diving into this noise thing, so thanks, Jack. But something that is nicely modified, something that is opened up a bit, that breathes better, it may improve your performance, may not. That's up for discussion. But if your behavior is such that you're just driving normally, it's probably not an issue. But if you wind it up and let it go, you may not even hear what you're doing behind you. Like it might be, you're leaving a trail of noise. It's not something you and your vehicle probably even realize you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we got Brandon who says, good morning, all from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Let's all have a fantastic day. You are obviously having a better day than us because we're working and you're out playing, unless you're working at playing.
So what track are you on? Maybe I'll come by after work and...
Which track at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park?
Yeah, there's a couple of them. There's go-kart tracks, there's the driver development track, and then there's, the main track. So
Chase, who is back in action, says, let's test people's G1 knowledge. When turning left from a 2-way street to a 1-way street with 3 lanes, which lane do you have to go into? I
know. Do you know?
Of course we know. We have to know. But the whole thing is, do they know? So we'll let people. Well, he gave the answer, but he says the left curb lane. You go to your nearest lane, and people who go wide into one of the other lanes are doing an improper turn, and it's against the law.
Absolutely, it is. And people, I've stopped people before, and they go, "Well, I have to make a right up here." Yep. Enter your proper lane. When it's safe to do so, move over to the next lane. And if it's 3 lanes, when it's safe to do so, move over to the next lane. If you can make your turn safely and successfully, do it. If not, go around the block.
But they're separate events. First you make your left turn, then you make your lane changes, and they're all separate events that require signaling and safety and shoulder checks and so on.
Yep, exactly.
MZ Hale has a question.
I have an answer.
But they didn't ask.
May not be the right answer.
They wasted their opportunity for being noticed on the notice of questions. I don't know if
I got an answer. 42.
42 is the best answer. It's the answer to life, the universe, and everything. And for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, Google it. Can you drive legally if you're blind in one eye? People say I'm lying. Please educate. The answer is you do not need to have binocular vision, which means you don't need to have 2 eyes in order to be licensed. You need to be able to meet the minimum vision, and it doesn't require stereo. 2 eyes.
Stereo vision?
Stereo vision.
That's correct. But in the eye that is functioning,
has to meet the requirements.
It has to meet the minimum requirements, or it has to be corrected to meet those requirements.
What is this? Why is it illegal not to wear your seatbelt in a vehicle unless it's a bus or a motorcycle? Because there's exemptions. And there's exemptions in a motor vehicle as well. Like you can get an exemption for medical. You can get an exemption if you're traveling. Well, there is an exemption if you're making frequent stops and deliveries, if you're traveling under a certain speed, if you're a taxi driver, with a passenger. There's a bunch of exemptions.
Taxi drivers, yes, but Uber drivers and Lyft drivers,
They are not taxi drivers.
Exactly. So, you know what? We all know that wearing a seatbelt keeps you in place, and that's the safest place to be involved in the collision. Flying out the windows or at the sunroof or something like that is not safe at all. On a motorcycle, I don't think you can strap somebody onto a motorcycle. Physically, I don't think you can do it. A bus?
Well, the motorcycle also would be unsafe. If you were strapped to that motorcycle and it was going head over tea kettle or whatever the saying is.
Because you don't have a cage around
you would be destroyed. So being thrown from the bike is sometimes the safest thing. And I was thrown from a motorcycle, two separate incidents. I can tell you that I would not have wanted to be under the motorcycle as it rolled. It would have killed me.
You know what? Buses have an exemption. They've always had this historic exemption. There is talk about changing that. I was on a bus in another jurisdiction, and they all had seatbelts.
School buses are getting seatbelts. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense instead of having them just have bad things happen. Yep. If I see for example, going through a red light and I have dash cam footage, how do I report it? You may be able to report it. It may not result in charges because we need more information than is often captured in that dash cam footage. But you can make a report if it's in the City of Toronto on the Toronto Police website, tps.ca, and that would allow you to report it. We'd be able to get that report, pursue it by contacting the registered owner and having a discussion, education and creating a file rather than actually laying charges may be better than nothing.
Sometimes we can't lay a charge. We have to know who the driver is. It's not an owner liability offense. It's a driver liability offense. Kind of like at a collision scene. We're not at collision scenes all the time. But we go and we take statements, and maybe the other involved driver will give a statement saying, I was driving this way, that car came this direction and hit me, and that person was driving it. With that sort of information, we'll be able to put that person before court because your witness is going to come and identify who the driver was at the time of the offense.
So it depends.
Dash cam footage of somebody going through a red light, you're probably not going to be able to identify who the driver is. And you have to positively identify the driver before the charges are laid. Until
such time that they make it a dry owner responsibility, then the video alone won't do it. But it is something where we see a pattern of behavior. If we're pulling someone over and you made a report, that report will show up when we pull them over, and then we can see that there was a history with this vehicle, and maybe we would have given them a warning, but we see this history for the vehicle, and maybe we won't.
Absolutely.
Do you feel laws will become Orwellian in that every little thing will land you a ticket in the mail? So we're talking George Orwell. We're talking 1984. But do I think that having speed enforcement on every street is a problem? I don't. I want people to be safe. I want people to do the right thing, and I don't think police can be anywhere or everywhere all the time. It's a problem. We don't have enough people to be everywhere, but we want people to be safe all the time. So yeah, I see where you're going with it, but I don't. If every time someone used profanity, a ticket spat out of the car like they did on what do you call it, Fifth Element, when Bruce Willis as a taxi driver did something, and his car just kept spitting tickets out at him. Or Demolition Man, also a great movie, where every time you did something wrong, wherever you were standing closest to, the receipt popped out of the wall. That was your ticket. I mean.
You know what though? There is benefit to owner liability offenses. Just like photo radar, red light cameras, if the owner of the vehicle is held responsible, they're going to ensure that everybody who's driving is driving more properly because they don't want to have to pay the fines that are coming in. So,
and by the way, Keith is on fire. TTV. That Orwellian question came from him, and you've been knocking it out of the park with great questions. So, welcome to the channel. I don't remember seeing your account before, but you've been just on it today. So, welcome to the Ask a Traffic Cop family because you've been really active, and I appreciate your input. It's official says, okay, but why is going 140 on the highway stunt driving? Many countries have 140 as the maximum speed. 140 on the highway generally isn't stunt driving because it's 50 kilometers over the posted limit. And mind you, it could be 50 over in a 90, but it depends on how much over. Why does anyone need to go anywhere near that when the speed limit is 100? Like, you're breaking law anyway.
Many countries have 140 as their maximum speed. I think it's great, but also the enforcement done in these countries are so strict that 141 gets you stopped and ticketed.
Sure.
And everybody abides by it. It's a total different mindset than we have here. We just see how much we can get away with, what's reasonable. I can do this. Nobody's looking.
But Lane, like they are such better drivers with higher standards. Things like lights and sirens, the seas part. There's no question. Here, we're fighting to get where we have to go as police officers, medics, and firefighters because people just are out to lunch when they're driving. And not everybody, but many, many people. So they're switched on. Like they're drivers. They're not just,
people going places and being rude and thinking about themselves.
Yeah. It's very much community there.
Now, you know why I came in here?
To make sure we left at 10:36. Because I said 10:30, but maybe we'll go to 10:36, and it's 10:35. So obviously we're not going to get to all the questions because we're going to stop now. It's a hard stop. I have to get to other things. But there were dad jokes, and I have to do the dad jokes. So the first was, what starts with W and ends with T?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. It says, no, it really does. Oh, I'm looking at it going, yes, what starts with... Took me a second. Yeah.
And I didn't see no, it really does, but...
Yeah, but you knew it. I mean, you knew where it was going. And I'm reading the no, it really does, and it actually threw me for a little bit. Okay. The CEO of IKEA was just elected president of Sweden. He should have his cabinet together by next week. That was good, too. We're going to skip the quotes, and because we just don't have time. But there was some great stuff.
You know what? This is the second week in a row. It has just been absolutely crazy around here. You were off last week, and things just kind of, piled up. We got police work to do. There's stuff coming on. We're working on projects. We're doing stuff. So, unfortunately, I have to steal Sean away because, he's really good at what he does. And
I thank you.
The information that he's preparing and putting out to the police service and other police services is needed, and it's needed now. So
yes, so we really wanted to make sure we had a few minutes, and effectively, this is the lunchtime that I'm not going to take because it's time that I get to spend with you. But it is important to say hello, and it is our goal to come back tomorrow and actually do an episode. So if all goes well, we'll see you tomorrow. I'll post on Twitter to confirm that in the morning. Otherwise. We're out of here. And you know what I can do? I can actually send you with the most amazing video. We'll close with this. It's a video I've loaded up. It's a recruiting video. I know, but I love this video. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Take care.
Your future career starts with a vision. A vision of opportunities ahead, where you can see a path to a noble career, serving the city of Toronto. Where do you see yourself? Toronto Police Service. Apply today.